A long time ago, in one of the kingdoms, there reigned a great and mighty king named Richard. King Richard was a tyrant and a braggart. King Richard had a daughter whose name was Elizabeth. His daughter made him proud. Just like a member of the royal family, Princess Elizabeth had a birthmark. In addition to being quite attractive, Elizabeth had a very generous heart. She was always willing to lend a hand. One day, King Richard told her,
"My royal princess, I'll marry you off to a member of royal family very soon, and you'll rule that kingdom as its queen. You'll make me proud of you as your father if you do it."
"But Papa, I don't want to get married." Princess Elizabeth went to her room after saying this. In her kingdom, Elizabeth had a crush on a commoner named Aidan. Aidan was incredibly impoverished, but he was a good man, and Princess Elizabeth adored him as a result. Elizabeth went to meet Aidan by concealing from all eyes after hearing her father, and she spoke to him. "Aidan, let's get married. Otherwise, my father will arrange for my marriage."
Well, but then your father will murder us if he finds out about us.
"And so what? We shall then die together." Princess Elizabeth eventually marries Aidan, and the king learns of it. In a fit of wrath, the king declares,
"My very own daughter betrayed me. Soldiers, grab hold of them and drag them directly in front of me."
All right, Your Majesty.
Aidan and the princess are arrested by the troops, who then bring them to the king. The king gives the order to put them both in the prison. After seeing both of them, one day Princess Elizabeth said, "All of the diamond rings are yours to keep, but only if you can help me in my escape from this jail."
Princess, the king will murder me. If he finds out about this, I will be executed.
The guard exactly knew how precious the princess' ring was, and that's why he showed them a secret path to escape. He helped the princess and Aidan in their escape. The following day, King Richard became furious upon hearing that they had fled, and he raged as he uttered,
"Once again my daughter has betrayed me."
Just then, the king made an announcement. "Whoever discovers my daughter will be rewarded with a portion of the kingdom." On the other hand, Princess Elizabeth and Aidan eloped and started staying in a different kingdom. After a year, Princess Elizabeth gave birth to a lovely girl. Even her hand had the same birthmark as every other member of the royal family. Just like her mother, Eve, Elizabeth's daughter, was extremely beautiful. They had all taken on the life of a commoner in the kingdom and began to live happily ever after. Just like this, even Eve was now a grown-up. She too evolved into a fearless fighter as she grew older. In King Richard's kingdom, on the other hand, there was fear. There was a terrifying creature lurking in his land who would come every month and upset the villagers, taking their hens and lambs with him. King Richard said,
"Make an announcement. Whoever finds the monster will be rewarded handsomely. It's my promise."
Many people tried their hardest, but none of them could compete with them. Just like that, the days passed. The villagers of the King Richard's kingdom were being tormented by this creature. And even the king was becoming worried. The money in his treasury was also draining away. One day, a young warrior named Ronald rode into the village of Elizabeth and Aidan on a stallion.
The kingdom of King Richard appears to be very far away. It's time for me to rest for a while.
They welcomed Ronald with open arms when he came to visit some ranchers.
We have planned food, sir.
They felt at ease because of Ronald's courteous and pleasant demeanor. He noticed that the entire field was covered in lovely flowers. As he peered all around, in the midst of those flowers, he discovered Eve dancing. He fell in love with her at the very first sight.
There lived a saint in a village called Exes. He was meditating since years, and so he had achieved lot of divine powers. He could control fire, water, and wind. One day while he was meditating, he felt dizzy because of heavy sun and he fell unconscious. There lived 3 friends in that village. Their names were Charles, Paul, and Joseph. The 3 of them were very good friends. They always lived together. One day they all were roaming in the forest and suddenly Charles saw a saint.
Hey Paul, Joseph, see, it seems that saint has fainted. Come, let's go and check.
Yeah, let's go.
Saying this, the 3 of them went there. They saw that saint was unconscious. Charles sat near him and massaged his hands and feet. Paul brought water from the river and Joseph fanned him with a cloth. Then Joseph put water in his mouth and sprinkled some of them on his face. After some time, the saint regained his consciousness and the saint got up and asked them,
You have helped me so much. Who are you, son?
Sir, we were passing by and saw that you were unconscious, so we helped you.
Are you feeling better, sir? Yes, now I am feeling better. The 3 of you have helped me, so I am very happy with you. Charles, who massaged my feet, will have fire from the sun. And Paul, who put water in my mouth, will get energy from water, with the help of which he will create water wherever he wants. And the 3rd, Joseph, who fanned me with pleasant air. He will always have the energy of wind, and he will be able to create air as per his wish. I am giving the 3 of you these 3 powers, but never use these powers in the wrong way.
Hearing this, Charles, Paul, and Joseph became very happy. And they greeted the saint and went from there. While they were going, they had a question.
If these powers are really with us, we should know how to use them properly. Isn't it, friends? Yes, your idea is good. Come, let's test them.
Yes, come.
Now, Charles told his power.
Let that tree burn. Let that tree get extinguished.
At that time, there is rain on the tree and all of them keep staring at each other and they became very happy.
Let the deer fly in air.
As soon as he said that, wild deer started flying in the air. Seeing all this, all the 3 of them became very happy and returned home. The next day, when they were going in the village, they saw a thief running after stealing something. Then Joseph used his air power and pulled him. He handed him over to the police. Moving forward, they saw some men were working in the farm, but there were lots of grass because of which they couldn't work properly. They looked worried. Then Charles burnt the grass with his power and he helped those farmers. After a few days, rainy season arrived. But there was no sign of rain there. The villagers were worried. Then Paul used his power and there was rain in the village. Seeing these things, the villagers were very happy and they got back to work. This way, these 3 friends helped different people in different ways. One day, due to a cylinder burst, there was fresh fire in a house. This news spread in the entire village and these friends also came to know. Then these 3 friends started helping other people also. With the help of Joseph's power, they flew and reached that place. Charles entered into the house because fire would not do anything harm to him. They entered into the house to rescue the people trapped there, and Paul went with Charles to help him extinguish the fire in the house. Then Charles told Paul,
I am rescuing the people trapped here. You extinguish the fire in the house. This will help me rescue the people of this house. Yes, let's go fast. Yes, let's go.
Saying this, both of them entered the house. The stuff in that house was burning. Then Paul went there and poured water on them. Charles rescued all the family members out of the house and they came out.
Really, all three of you are very helpful and wonderful people. Thank you very much.
Saying this, everyone started praising them. And then the three of them leave that place and started going to their work. This news spread everywhere. And in order to honor them and their work, collector organized a function. In that function, along with high-profile people, even the common people were invited. One day the function was organized and people gathered there. Then Mr. Collector came there and honored Charles, Paul and Joseph in front of everyone.
These three gems are priceless for us. We should respect the power they have been given. They have helped our village a lot, and so we will honor them.
Mr. Collector presented them garland and shawl to honor them. And seeing all this, Charles, Paul and Joseph were flaunting on air, and they start using their powers in the right manner and always saved people. This story teaches us that we should never give up and always do good work. Never think ill of anyone, cause as you sow, so shall you reap.
In a village, Sagar and Manav were two friends. Sagar was a nice guy, but Manav was a greedy kind of guy. They both had tea stalls, but their profits were nothing special. One day, Sagar goes to meet his cousin Soham.
Hey Sagar, how are you? Is everything alright at home?
I'm fine, brother, and everything at home is fine. It's just that my business isn't going so well.
Hey brother, if your business is not going so well, why don't you try some other business?
You are correct, but what business should I start? There are already a lot of people in the market who do various types of business.
Sagar, I have an idea. Sister-in-law makes such a good pulao. So why don't you sell her handmade pulao? You will get a very good price because people have never eaten such a delicious pulao.
Oh yes, Soham, this is a brilliant idea. Why didn't I think of it earlier?
After talking to Soham, Sagar left for home. Sagar's wife used to make very delicious pulao. From the next day, Sagar followed Soham's idea. He set up a stall in the market and started selling pulao. Everyone who came to his shop liked pulao very much. And now, Sagar started to earn really good money. Seeing all of this,
Sagar is achieving so much day by day. I too must do something.
the next day, Manav opens a stall near Sagar's shop and begins selling pulao at a very low rate. Sagar's customer started gathering at Manav's stall buying pulao. Seeing all of this happening, Sagar feels disheartened. Sagar went to a distant village and started doing his business. Manav used to make good profits because now Sagar was out of the picture. But he was never satisfied. No matter how much money he had, but as humans, we are never satisfied with our situation.
Right now, no one will be able to compete with me. Even if I gradually cut on the pulao, no one will notice. And I will still outperform everyone. After all, nobody is here to judge me in comparison.
The following day, Manav cut back on the amount of pulao prepared and started serving less to the populace. However, it wasn't long before people realized that Manav had cut back on the pulao. Due to this reason, customers were no longer visiting Manav's stall. After a few days, Sagar learned that no one was buying pulao from Manav. So he returned back to his village and he started selling pulao as he did previously. Due to lack of buyer, Manav's stall had now been closed.
Manav, you should not be greedy. Look what it made you do. Look where your greed has brought you.
I have made a mistake, Sagar. I did wrong to you. Please forgive me, if possible.
Oh, no problem. We are friends and no apologies are allowed in friendship. You realized your mistake, which is a very good thing. I have already forgiven you. Manav, I was thinking, why don't we sell pulao together?
Sagar, you are really generous. You still see me favorably despite everything I did to you. Thank you, friend.
Hey Manav, what are friends for after all?
May God bless everyone with a friend like you.
From the very next day, Manav and Sagar together started selling pulao in the village. Seeing both of them working together, the people of the village started coming to their stall. Gradually, their business went from one village to another, and both the friends always lived together and did their business very well without being selfish. In the city of Vardhaman, there was a highly talented merchant, and the king of that city noticed his ability. He appointed him as an administrator of the country. He had kept the common man satisfied with his tactful ways. The king was also quite impressed. After a few days, the merchant arranged for his daughter's marriage. He planned a large feast for this occasion. He invited everyone from the royal family in this celebration. Throughout the meal, he honored everyone and presented ornaments and gifts to each one of the guests. A royal family worker who used to sweep the palace also attended the feast, but sat on a chair reserved for the royal family members, and he sat on it by mistake. When the merchant saw this,
"Are you even worthy to sit on the chair of this royal family? Get lost from here, you idiot!"
he grabbed the servant's neck and hurled him out of the feast. The servant was humiliated and decided to give the merchant a lesson. The same servant was sweeping the king's chamber while he noticed that the king was almost asleep.
How dare this merchant misbehave with the queen?
Hearing this, the king jumped out of his bed and asked the servant,
"Hey, you servant, whatever you are saying, is it true? Have you seen the merchant misbehaving with the queen?"
The servant immediately grabbed the king's feet and said,
Forgive me, sir. I gambled all night and could not sleep. That's why I am muttering something in my sleep.
The king said nothing, but the seed of the suspicion had already been planted. The king stopped the nobles from wandering near the merchant's palace and limited his power as of the day. The merchant was stopped by the gatekeepers the next day. The trader was taken aback when he saw this. The servant standing nearby then snickered and said,
Hey, gatekeepers, don't you know who is he? He is a very influential person and can get you thrown out as he did at his dinner with me, so be careful. Be careful about this.
On hearing this, the merchant understood the whole matter. After a few days, he invited the servant to his house, welcomed him, and gave him gifts. He then humbly apologized for the feast day, and he said,
"Dear son, I made a mistake. Forgive me whatever wrong I did to you. I am sorry."
The servant was very happy. He said,
Not only did you apologize to me, but you also did so much to me. Don't you worry, I will get back your lost honor from the king.
While the servant was sweeping the king's room, he saw that the king was almost asleep. He started muttering again.
Oh my god, our king is such a fool that he eats cucumber in the bathroom?
Hearing this, the king was filled with anger.
"You foolish servant, how dare you speak like that? If you were not the servant of my room, then you would have been fired from your job."
The servant again fell at his feet and apologized to the king, vowed never to gamble again. Then the king thought,
When he can speak wrong about me like this, he must have spoken wrong about the trader too, because of which I have punished him for no reason.
The very next day, the king called the merchant to the palace and gave his lost prestige with full respect.